is yes. Radio remains one of the most accessible forms of media, reaching listeners anytime, anywhere. Unlike algorithms, radio is driven by real people and real voices, sharing real stories. It creates a sense of connection, bringing communities together through shared experience. For students, it's more than just listening. It's a space to learn, to express, and to grow. In the future, technology may evolve, but the human voice will always matter. Celebrating 16 years with IIUM FM, your campus radio. It's been 16 years. What an incredible journey. To all our listeners, thank you for being with us. This is IIUM FM, celebrating 16 years of your campus radio.
Tuning into voices bright and clear. Across the air, we're always near. IIUM FM, your campus radio. With knowledge, truth, and something new. IIUM FM, the sound of unity. In every heart, a shared melody. Reaching minds with every beat. Voices strong where worlds meet. From wisdom old to stories untold, we bring the light, the young and bold. Through every way, we rise and shine. IIUM FM, your voice, your time. IIUM FM, the sound of unity. In every heart, a shared melody. Reaching minds with every beat. Voices strong, worlds meet.
Assalamualaikum and welcome back to IIUM FM, your campus radio. So now, dear listeners, thank you for joining my program, which is Iqra on Air. I'm DJ Anis, and this will be the sixth episode. This will be the sixth episode of my program, Iqra on Air, which we talk about. Allah. Okay. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon again. Sorry for the repetition because there is technical issues. So welcome back to IIUM FM, dear listeners. So for today's episode, Iqra on Air, we will be talking about a book which is focusing more on healing, Islamic motivation, and maybe about some themes that we are familiar about, which is forgiveness. So on this program, we will focus more to those listeners who doesn't know our program. So this is about where we explore knowledge, reflection, and also inspiration through literature and also through Quranic verse, lens of Quranic. So this is a program where we explore knowledge and ideas inspired by contemporary issues, writers, and also about Islamic thought. So for today's episode, we'll be discussing about an important topic. Just like what I said earlier, we'll be focusing more on a book written by Iffah Nizar, which is titled For the Heart That Is Still Hurting. So our discussion for today's episode is more of a theme about on how Islam can guide us on our journey of forgiveness, letting go, healing, and especially about our past pain. So before we start our episode, here is some our background introduction about our writer. So Iffah Nizar, or also known as Dr. Wan Iffah binti Wan Ahmad Nizar, aka Iffah Nizar, is also a Malaysian author, illustrator, and also a lecturer from University Science Islam Malaysia, which is the main campus for you guys. If you guys know, the main campus it is at the Nilai. It's at Nilai, and she's under Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment. So she is also best known for her healing and motivational books, which is what we're going to talk about for today's episode. And today we are honored to welcome her with a very special topic, which is about this book, For the Heart That Is Still Hurting. So she is a creative illustrator and author in the world of Islamic motivational books. So welcome, Dr. Iffah Nizar. So her writing is not only to help others, it is also to find herself through this book. It is also, unlike other non-fiction books, she also do some illustrative like cute drawings and funny drawings that can give us a more easier analogical story. So through this book, it is a reflective and a faith-based guide that speaks to anyone that is struggling with emotional pain and about their past experience. So whether it is about betrayal, heartbreak, or any disappointment that you are experiencing, this book comprises all of them in one book. So dear listeners, if you feel familiar with this might be your chance to listen to our sharing session about this book with Dr. Iffah Nizar, which is the author about this book. So may her words inspire us to embrace our challenges with courage and to find meaning in every story that we live, inshallah. So welcome to the program, Doctor. Assalamualaikum. How are you, Doctor?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you. First and foremost, thank you very much for inviting me here to Iqra FM or IIUM FM? IIUM FM. And Anis, thank you very much for having me here. I'm very much honored, and alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Doctor. So is this your first time coming to IIUM?
IIUM? No.
No?
Yeah, because I live very just nearby, so I've been here quite a few times. My husband also studied here before. But here in IIUM FM, yeah, this is my first time. So
this is your first time, right? So in case if our dear listeners and in case if Doctor also don't know, IIUM FM is a radio program which is guided, controlled by the student itself. Yeah, all of the committee here is all student. Yeah, we have so many bureaus like DJ, technical, media team, so many more. So basically this is our chance to enhance our skill in radio broadcast. So yeah, so this for me also, this is my first time organizing a program, and this is my one of the best opportunity to get to know about your book, get to know about my, maybe enhance my skill in DJ, So inshallah. So thank you so much for joining us again. So before we start our sharing session, from what I learned from this book actually explores about the pain of betrayal, heartbreak, right?
yeah, in a sum, yeah.
Yeah. So you also mentioned in this book, which is invisible weight. Could you briefly explain about what you mean invisible weight that we carry when we've been hurt?
Okay. First, thank you for that question, and I think the introduction also. So, the book's title is "For the Heart That's Still Hurting," and the main topic around it is about the weight of emotions. And I think for the first question, we all know that emotions actually have its weight, right? So that's why we hear a lot of phrases like weighted down by shame and guilt or a heavy heart. So it's not just metaphors, Emotional burden or emotional weight is very much real. So when someone hurt us, our body, this is like very much science proven. When someone hurt us, our body instinctively goes into like two modes. Like the body's response will immediately go to like a state of alertness or like guardedness, and that triggers our nervous system, which causes our muscle to tense up. So that makes our body kind of like works harder despite not moving. That's why a lot of people, when they went through a turmoil or went through something very heavy feeling, they always mention it, like describe it as something, feel like they are running a marathon despite not moving a muscle. So that's the first mode. And then the second mode, like our mind then will take up the cognitive load. So when you went through something, you will keep thinking about it. Our mind works non-stop like background apps on the phone, So a lot of data uploaded on our mind, and then it's analyzed. We keep thinking about it and we make decisions, and without create its own drama in the head without us even asking asking to do it. So it drains our energy, just like how the background apps drains the battery, the phone's battery, right? So yeah, when we've been hurt and like we're holding on to the pain and the hurt, it will exhaust us. That is why this is, if we look through the seerah, this is why during the early time of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he became really worried about the ummah in Makkah, Allah said in Surah Ashar, ayat, I think verse 2 to 3, and we remove from your burden which had weight upon your back. So in the verse 3, Allah used the word anqadha, meaning that something that almost breaking his bone, like it's crushing his back and it's breaking his bones. It's that heavy, even though it actually comes from the worry feeling that the Prophet feel. So I think that shows how Allah acknowledged that emotion has its weight. So that is the invisible weight that we're addressing in the book, inshallah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That is very deep to start off. So do you think emotional pain is more heavier than physical pain?
Well, because I think it has its own weight on its own. Physical pain is a different thing, but emotion, a lot of people not realizing that emotional burden can actually translate it into physical pain. So it's kind of like related to each other. Yeah.
I see. Oh, that's very so meaningful and so insightful answer just now. I don't know what to say because the answer is very insightful and I can easily understand. So for those listeners who are listening, maybe you can share this also to your friends who are struggling also. Maybe this can help them, because sometimes some people, especially younger generation these days, they feel like they have like no one to talk to, no one to open up to. So just like what you said just now, they feel exhausted because of the pain that they have endured.
Yeah.
So because of that, they started to become exhausted to open up to other people. Maybe because of that.
Yeah. That's right.
So like, do you think that pain is hidden deep inside can disappear, or does it always resurface in some way, like relapse?
Well, I think for me personally, it doesn't disappear in a sense like you're deleted from your history, so it will always resurface. That's one thing about pain and about hurt or things that we experience, and it will always resurface alongside the feelings and the pain that we feel together. So and I think in this topic, that is why forgiveness is not something that we do once. It's not something that you just do once, so you just say you forgive and that's it, you forget about it, you move on. But it is something that we actually practice. It is something that we do again and again and again, and I think that's the beauty of it, when you have to do it again and again, because it is a way for us to, the way I see it is that why pain and forgiveness has to be done again and again is because that's the gift that Allah has given us who are in pain, to receive His blessing and pahala again and again and again every time we do it, so it's the struggle that actually gave us the blessing. So never blame yourself for feeling hurt all over again whenever you remember the pain, because we're humans and that's how Allah granted us forgiveness and reward. So it definitely will not be deleted, like simply deleted or backspace, but it will resurface again, but see it in a different way, where it is actually how Allah has given us a way to receive His blessing again and again. Yeah.
I see. So in terms of forgiveness, do you mean forgive yourself or forgiving others?
This topic is mostly about forgiving others, because when we talk about forgiving ourselves, it's a whole different topic, because forgiving ourselves involves us and Allah, and that is a very private, different topic. When you talk about forgiving others, it involves others who in reality sometimes they don't really remember what they did to us. So this is mainly about forgiving others, what people had done to us, inflicted pain and hurt on us.
I see. So to me, in my point of view, I think everyone has experienced this kind of stuff, and they have different experiences. And to me, I used to have a feeling of some kind of like, not really vengeful, just some kind of, I feel like they don't know about this pain that I'm experiencing because I don't talk to them, I don't express it to them. So due to that, they acted like everything is normal.
Yeah.
Because some people, their perspective is very different, right? Because, like, for example, when your friend make a joke about you and that is very offensive to you, but they think that it's not.
Yeah.
So at some point you feel like you want to express to them, but you think that it's not really a big deal because they don't feel like it,
Mhm.
So at some point, maybe we just have to be softening a bit, is it?
Well, it depends. I mean, like, the reality is, the harsh reality is that when someone hurt us, sometimes it's just another day for them. And they don't even realize the pain that they inflicted upon us. And they thought it was just another remark, something that they say to others.
Yeah.
But they didn't realize that it's actually hurt us, And sometimes it's really hard for us to actually tell them that, what you said was actually painful, like hurtful. It's something that I don't really like it, because, or maybe we did say that, and then they like, sorry, and then they just let it go. But when you are offended on something, when someone actually give you pain, something like that, you never kind of like dismiss it. So kind of like it's about letting go, or like, the question of should I just let it go or just like, hold on to it. That is a very delicate thing. Some people may see it something big, some people may see it something, small, but it's on you. You decide.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very deep conversation we had just now. So before we moving on to our next session, which is more in depth about this book, we'll take a few minutes break. So to dear listeners, stay tuned only on IIUM FM, your campus radio. Assalamualaikum, dear listeners. Welcome back to IIUM FM, your campus radio. So just now, in our previous session, we have covered about what does it mean of invisible weight that we have within ourselves, and what does it mean that if our pain can it be disappeared that easily, or can it resurface at some point? So Dr. Iffah Nizar have answered these questions very concisely and very, she also inserted a Quranic ayah from Surah Ashar verse 3. So you guys can check it out and maybe can share it to your friends also. This can give us some new insights about forgiveness, pain, and letting go. So for our next session, we'll be focusing more on about the way in this book, they portrayed struggle with forgiveness. So in your book, you have mentioned themes of like forgiving and letting go. So in your point of view, does forgiving and letting go of the past pain mean that we are truly healed and erasing all of them in our life?
Like, this is one of the questions that I got a lot.
Whoa,
A lot when you're talking about forgiveness, like forgiving others, about letting go, and then like how we truly heal. And does forgiving means erasing all the things that have done on us. So there's a chapter like in my book that depicts like a struggle, like a conversation within our heart. For me personally, this is one of the conversations that keeps coming up, like in me, regarding all these topics. So there's that chapter particularly talks about like reflection on Allah's name, Al-Ghaffar. And in Arabic term, it comes from Ghafara, but like Al-Ghaffar specifically in Arabic terms, it refers and highlights the repetition of an action. So the frequency of the act that it is talking about lah. So Al-Ghaffar means it's repeating the same action again and again. So one of the best mercy of Allah is that He promised to always forgive us, when we sincerely ask for His forgiveness. So no matter how many times. So we were reminded, to keep on asking sincere forgiveness, and He will grant us His forgiveness. And that is because the beauty of the name Al-Ghaffar is that because Allah knows our nature that keep on making mistakes, and then that our nature as humans who are insan, meaning that we are creatures that forget, creatures that always forget. Yesterday we may say, oh, we forgive them, with happy face, but then when today we remember it again, the pain comes up, and then like we totally forgot that the forgiveness that we have given yesterday. So when that happens, it's okay. What we need to do in regards to Allah's name Al-Ghaffar is that we have to follow the footsteps of Al-Ghaffar, meaning that we just have to keep on forgiving. And like how a hard road constantly showered with water, it will soften and it will become a garden one day. And that's how we heal. When we talk about healing in forgiving, by forgiving others, that's how we heal. Healing doesn't mean that we are free from the pain, because reality is we will feel the pain. And it's so when we talk about healing from forgiving others, it doesn't come from the fact that only when we are free from the pain, then it means that we're healing. But it is more of knowing that we are doing what Allah loves, which is to keep forgiving, following exactly what He does, what He loves, following the Allah. Yeah.
So just like what you said just now, we have to keep forgiving them.
Yeah.
But what if at some point, I don't know, maybe other people, their hearts, na'udzubillah, right? Their hearts feel like they can't take it anymore, the pain. Like maybe some people, they feel like other people deserve the same pain that they're suffering. So how can you explain to that?
Because and that is fair. I mean, that's fair for you to feel that when, especially if the pain inflicted upon us is something that is very, very big, very huge. Of course, we're going to feel like the anger that we hold on to is actually something that we deserve. That anger, we deserve to hold on to it, because if we let go of that, then it makes us feel like we're forgiving them, as if like what they did to us doesn't matter, as if it is something like something that we can just dismiss. And first and foremost, of course, it's okay for you to feel that. That's human. And what they did is wrong, totally wrong. And Allah acknowledged that. But then we will talk about that. What exactly do you want? By holding on to the anger or forgiving them, what exactly that you want from that? you have to think about it, because like forgiveness is an act, an ibadah. It is something that you practice, as I mentioned earlier. It is a practice, something that it's not just something that you magically happen, or like in time you are expected to know how to forgive. That's not what forgiveness is. But it's something you have to practice. So when we talk about ibadah, you know very clearly your objective for salat is what? For us to get closer to Allah, you know, for us to get His redha. And what's the objective of puasa? You know all those things. So when we realize that we see forgiving others is an act of worship, it is ibadah, then you need to understand what you want from that. And hopefully that will help us to slowly understand and accept that following al-ghafar, which is that we keep on forgiving, you know, there's always reward for every time that you do that. You know, if with every step that you take, you do that again and again and again, what you get is a reward for yourself. So yeah,
that's right. I think in Islam it is easy for us to gain, rewards, and it's hard for us to gain, like, sin, like dosa in Malay, because when we want to do a sin, if we have a niyat for it but we don't do it yet, we still don't get
you
this.
don't. Yeah.
But if
You're still safe.
you're still safe. But if we already do it, we get it. That is in Islam is very easy. So for the next one, letting go is the most hardest process in life, because we have to go through in this life. Because what makes letting go feels unfair to someone who is still hurting?
I think that's the exact same question as like previously, you know, like when we were hurt, people inflicted pain upon us, and most of the time, like human will always say we are the one expected to let it go. You know, when someone hurt us, the first thing you say, oh, you know, for your benefit, let it go. People, that's the phrase that people always say. We are the one who was in pain are the one expected to let go of it, to forget, to forgive. But the reality is, when someone hurt you, it just, like I mentioned earlier, it could be just another day for them,
yes.
you know. So they don't see and realize the extent of damage that they have done to us because of their words. Or what their action, and because at this point it feels like we are asked to forget it after someone wounded us without them taking responsibility. Of course, it's not fair, right?
Yes.
So that's why I think a lot of people say that letting go of the hurt and anger is not fair, because it is. It is not fair, especially when we have been swimming in the pain, trying to survive the consequences of everything that had been done to us, and then we see them not even remember what they did or what they said to us. You know, how is that fair? So it's a fair question, and I think it's fair for us to feel that way. But what matters is, what do you do next?
Yes, that's right. It's up to us, because the one that feels the emotion is us, right?
Yeah.
So we have to understand, we have to manage our emotion really, really well. And I think to me, I also used to feel like that. Everyone feel like that. Everyone must have felt like that. And when we experience that, I think the first thing that we have to do is we cannot have, like, a vengeful feeling toward them, because that feeling can lead to many, many bad consequences, right? Like, for example, we bad biting them, like bad mouthing them, and then we also sometimes we also do fitnah to them, so it can lead to many bad consequences. So in your point of view, how can we balance acknowledging our pain while moving toward forgiveness?
Okay, so I think, like, the way we feel, like what we discussed earlier, the way we feel and what we do with the feeling are two different things. Sometimes you couldn't really tahan ourselves to feel certain way, because that's just how human reacts. That's just our instinct. So that's why for me, feeling the anger is normal. That's fair. That's normal. But the most important thing that Allah cares about is not how we feel, but what we do with what we feel. That's why, as you mentioned earlier, that when we think about sinning, Allah still give us a chance, because that's how humans are. We are built to be someone who have feelings, and that feelings could be what drives us. And but what matters to Allah is what we do with that feeling, you know. So we could be feeling vengeful, but if we don't act upon it, then we are safe, inshallah, on that one. So when you ask how we balance and acknowledging our pain, is that yes, it's okay for you to feel that way, because it's truly not fair, you know. You see, Allah himself acknowledges that. You know, Allah never dismissed the unfairness of it all. That is why in if we read the Quran, there are many ayat in the Quran that Allah acknowledges the Prophet's pain when others hurt him. You know, He never said that the Prophet is too sensitive, or like to just forget it, or to be the better person. You know, Allah can say that, definitely be a better person. You're a Rasul, kan? But Allah never said that. He never said. But instead, Allah said in Surah, for example, in Surah Ash-Shura, Surah 42, verse 43, but whoever endures with patience and forgives, surely that is a matter that requires great determination. And that is a big acknowledgement. Allah acknowledged that it is not fair, that it is not easy, you know, to go through all those pain that people inflicted upon us. So it's okay for you to feel that. It's okay for us to feel that. In fact, when we read all the ayat about forgiving others in the Quran, Allah never force us to forgive. Like try to ask ChatGPT or Gemini to list down all the ayat about forgiving others. When we read it, when we understand, He always said that if we do, the reward is for us. He never said that it is our responsibility to that. So when we look through the Quran in the way that Allah talks about forgiving others, He beautifully presented it as a choice. You know, He did not push us or tell us to forgive, that we must forgive, that it is our responsibility to do so as a human or as a fellow brothers and sisters, you know. But it is totally on us, depends on us, whether to forgive or not. That is up to us. So we have the total power to decide. That's how I read it. That's how I understand all the ayat that Allah have presented us when He talks about forgiving others. But if we do decide to forgive, then we will get our rewards. So I think that's what we need to remember when people inflicted pain upon us. It's okay for you to feel whatever you're feeling, but what matters to Allah is how you act upon it. That is why in most of the ayahs of the forgiveness is that Allah acknowledges the pain first. Allah acknowledges what we feel, the anger and all that. But Allah said, if we do forgive, then we are the one who gets the reward, which is a big thing. We are the one who get the rewards. Yeah.
Yes, that is a very insightful answer just now. So, based on this answer alone, it has give some awareness to me and also hopefully to our listeners as well. So, for our dear listeners who are listening right now, in case when you're listening to this, you started to have some awareness about this, which is about letting go and forgiving others, maybe this time can try to give yourself a chance to forgive others of the pain that they have done to you, and also maybe you can try to maybe apologize to other people that you think they may have been hurt by that. So inshallah, from this we can learn, and for the next session we'll be focusing more on themes about the faith and religion. About faith and religion. So this will be one of the interesting topic we'll be focusing. So without further ado, we will stay tuned for the next session. So stay tuned with me only on IIUM FM, your campus radio. Assalamualaikum, dear listeners, and welcome back to IIUM FM, your campus radio. So now, on this episode, previously on our previous session, we have shared about themes of forgiving and letting go, which is Dr. Iffah Nizar have give us some of the answers that maybe can help us to, gain some awareness and insights about this, which is something that we rarely remember and we forget that easily. Just like what Doctor said just now, we as one of the creatures that created by Allah, we are forgetful and we are easily forgetful. So just like what Doctor said, we should implement the feeling of ghafar, which is forgiving. So in that case, for those of the listeners, maybe this can be one of your chance to keep forgiving to others, no matter how hard it is. Maybe this can help you to become a better person. So for our next session, since we have already reached our second last session for today's episode, we'll be talking about something more spiritual in this book, which is about faith and healing, which is play an important part in this book. So this is a very important because we can take note and learn for ourselves as well through our sharing session. So if you guys are interested to read about this book, feel free to check out the book called For the Heart That's Still Hurting. That one, yeah. For the Heart That's Still Hurting by Iffah Nizar in Iman publication bookstores or websites. So basically this book talk about forgiveness and letting go, just like what we just shared just now. So in this session we'll be focusing more in depth. So Doctor, so this book portrays about, just like what you said, Allah as Al-Ghaffar, the most forgiving. So in your point of view, how does faith and religion play a role in the journey of forgiving?
I think this is an interesting question, because when you talk about how faith and religion play a role in the journey of forgiveness, or like how faith in general plays a role in our struggles, as humans, whether you're a believer or not, it is our fitrah to ask for help from something that is much bigger than us, something that is much stronger than us. It is something instinctive, something that sometimes just comes naturally. We had many stories of this as a proof. When we're desperate, when we need something, like really need something, and you're just helpless, we will instinctively ask of those who have power to kind of like help us, right? And that's faith. That's faith. And the beauty of our religion is that we know exactly who we ask. We know exactly who we ask and what He can do, what His power are, and what He can do. And Allah, of course, it's Allah, and Allah promises so many things regarding this, and for me, the most assuring of all is, I think, the most cliche ayat that, and I think a lot of people know, is that, and only with remembrance of Allah will the heart find rest.
Yes.
It may sound very serene, may sound very simple, but the way I see it, it is something very powerful, because just remembering Him, like in a sense of just the on surface, on surface of the bahasa, the language, is that Allah said very simply that just by us remembering Him, which is the first step in the long journey of forgiveness, is that remembering Him, we will find the peace that we much want, we much needed, and that is the only first. As I said, the only first step of the long journey. Something very easy, because sometimes when you are very helpless, you feel very desperate, you're just tired of it all, you just want to get some strength from something. You hearing that Allah said that just by remembering Him, which is something very easy, is actually very assuring. Yeah, it's very like, okay, so the first step is very easy, which is remembering Him, remember Allah. Peace is promised to those who remember Him, which is very simple. And when we walk towards Him, and then He gave another promise, when we walk towards Him, He will run to us. So, how is that not powerful, right? So I think that's the how faith and religion actually helps us a lot in this long journey.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because like just Allah asks us to remember Him alone,
Mm.
and He will give us peace. Just by that, it's really easy for us
Yeah.
to do it, right?
Mm.
But I think there must be some. It's very hard for humans to do that. To stay consistent, istiqomah,
Yeah.
because of the distraction in this dunya, and the distraction and so on. So it is one of our tests to stay
Yeah.
committed, to stay loyal to Allah, and
Mm.
be consistent in our religion, stay remembering Allah in spite of all the distraction that we have been given. Like for example, in this generation these days, like free mixing, eating with mixed genders,
Yeah.
and also doing some zina, and that's all. That alone, so many distract that can give us impact in our life. So in Islam, can turning to Allah can help someone to find strength to forgive when our willpower is so weak, so insufficient.
I think like when talking about forgiveness, there are always like two of the extreme, which is number one is those who are constantly in anger. They always want to hold on the anger, and then there's another group of people who feel guilty because we can't find it in our hearts to actually forgive. They find it really hard to forgive, even though they really want to, but it's hard. And I feel like for these people, because I was one of those, I really want to forgive because I was exhausted at one point. I was really exhausted, and but I want to forgive, but I just feel guilty because I don't think I can. I don't think I can find the strength to actually, forgive them, because I feel like what they did to me was really, really, really painful. But so I would like to say to those people is that it's okay. I mean, human willpower, it's finite. It will run out. Because that's what differentiate us and Allah. It's very limited, our willpower. And anyways, I mean, like in Islam, we are not expected to be superheroes. We are expected to be servants. That's one thing that I think we always forgot. We are expected to be servant, meaning that when your heart is too heavy, what we are expected to do is to turn to Allah and say, Allah, I am empty, please fill me. I am broken, please mend me. That's what is expected of us. And we tend to forget that. We feel that we need to be strong on our own without relying to Him. But what we are expected to do, what we are here for, is to be servants, meaning that what we need to do in everything, we look at Him and we ask His help. We ask for His strength. So that is why He gives us His names. He tells us His sifat, 99 names of Him and what they mean. Is that for us to know and to understand that He will always be there. He is always there. He will always be there, and He has all the power to hold our hands and to guide us where we need to be. And He loves us to do so. That's what He wants us to do. That I think that is one thing that we easily forget. So why walk this long and hard journey, this path on our own, when Allah said that He wants us to look at Him and ask for His strength?
Yes, that's right. To me, I also think the same way like you, because I don't know why, but sometimes when I feel like I'm in a heavy state, in a painful state, sometimes I will go to Allah, like I pray, and then I ask for dua, make some dua. But the after effect is I feel a lot more, like the pain has been lifted. I feel like that, some kind of calming and peaceful. But the those kind of feeling is very different than when you like opening up to your friends, because when you tell to your friends, it doesn't give the same kind of effect. I don't know why, but it's that kind of difference that only us that do it will understand. Yeah. So
That's true.
So healing can be a messy process for us, but sometimes we feel like we have healed fully, but then all of a sudden we crumble back down because the pain relapses back to us. So in your point of view, what does spiritual healing look like to you? Is it messy, or is it some kind of straight path, what does it look like to you for a heart that
It may be different for everyone, but for me, it is the path that I went through was actually quite messy. But what you need to do is actually to have a shift in perspective. I think that helps me in my what I went through. What really helps me is actually when I have that shift of perspective in seeing things. You know how people always say forgiveness is not about them, it's about me. But like, what does that mean? I mean, like, they are the one who hurt me, and like if I let go, you know, all the anger that consumed me is because of them. So when I have the shift of perspective where I feel that, you know, why I need to be why I need to be on the path of healing is because I don't want to give them the power to, because if I keep on being angry because of what they did, they still hold the power on me, and I don't like that. So that's when I start to shift the perspective on how seeing forgiving others, what does it really mean. So it is when we realize that forgiveness is actually brings, for me, that forgiveness is actually brings us closer and closer to Allah. You know, every time we forgive, as we mentioned just now, Al-Ghaffar, we need to do it again and again. And that walking this forgiving path is taking us exactly where He wants us to be, which is in His Jannah with Him. So like in the last few chapters in my book, I talk a lot about the rewards of forgiving others. You know? The benefits are all for us and us only. And what it means by the phrase that we always hear, which is forgiveness is the best gift that I can give to myself, right? So because the highest reward is actually a ticket to Jannah. But interestingly, when I try to see belik-belik the Quran, you know, when we look through the Quran to see what are the rewards of forgiving others, this is something very interesting that I find. I couldn't really make a list. You know how one of the things about the Quran is that when there's mentions of rewards for our deeds, it could be very specific. Like for example, especially in ibadah, like for example sadaqah, the reward is very clearly, it says 700 times of that in Surah Al-Baqarah ayat 260. And then when you talk about the rewards for those who pray, like, you know, Allah will forgive our sins. Some of the rewards are Allah will forgive our sins, and then it will take us closer to Allah. So this is in Surah Al-Ankabut ayat 45. But when Allah talks about the rewards of forgiveness, it could be very vague. So have a look yourself. Have a look through the Quran and make a list of the rewards that Allah mentioned about when we forgive others. It's quite vague, and He talks about how He does not like wrongdoers. We will be given inner peace, and so on. Like very vague, you know. Yeah. So, like for example, in Surah Ashura, Surah 42, ayat 40. Whoever pardons and makes reconciliation, his reward is due from Allah. Indeed, He does not like the wrongdoers. It is something very, for me, it's actually quite vague compared to the like very specific 700 times of pahala, you know, rewards and things like that. So at first I was confused and kind of disappointed. You know, I was like, how am I supposed to be motivated to do, to forgive others if I don't really have anything to hold on to? You know? But when I read the tafsir and understand the ayat and see the ayat itself, when Allah said that the reward is with Allah, from Allah, due with Allah, means that it's like the way I see it is that meaning that it's a mystery gift, and usually the mystery gift in a competition is the best gift of all, right? Because like it's like Allah acknowledging that forgiveness is not something easy to do, and it is definitely not easy, and so that's why He gives the power to choose whether to forgive or not to us, totally on us. It is not easy. So it is not easy, and it is so hard that only those who decide to do so, to truly forgive, deserve to see the reward. That's how I see it. When that's how I see and how I motivate myself. Why the rewards that mentioned in the Quran for forgiving others are very vague, because not everyone deserves to get to see that. You know, He personally takes charge of rewarding us. You know, because it's that. How do I say that? Is that not enough for us to? I mean, like when you hear that, you know, is that not enough for us to let go of the anger and all the hurt and walks toward Him ourselves? And for me, that's how I see it.
Yeah, to me, I think when you just answered that, I feel like forgiveness is one of the delicate thing ever in our life, because just like what you said just now, I was very amazed by the answer, mashallah, because it's like you really study about the ayah and the tafsir so deep. Maybe that's how you come up with this book, is it?
Yeah.
So
Because it's not an easy thing to do. It, as I mentioned, it's something that you really have to push yourself to do. As an ibadah kan.
yeah, forgiveness is one of the most, will be given a mystery gift, because when forgive others, so it's something that we can do, something that we can try to do. It's very easy, it's not so hard. Maybe it is hard for us to take for process, but when times come slowly, we will have time to letting go of the pain, forgive others for the pain that they have caused us. So for our next session, we'll be focusing more about moving forward, and some lessons that readers can learn from this book. So dear listeners, stay tuned with IIUM FM. So maybe you can grab your matcha latte at Monty Coffee, and so stay tuned with me only on IIUM FM, your campus radio. Assalamualaikum and welcome back to IIMFM, your campus radio. So dear listeners, as we reach to the end of our sharing session with Dr. Iffah Nizar, we will be closing with themes of moving forward and loving ourselves. So for those of the listeners who have just listened to us throughout the sessions before, this must be one of the most insightful session that you have ever listened before, because this covers a lot of topic that we are familiar with, which is forgiveness and letting go. And Dr. Ifanizar also insert some Quranic ayah and also some tafsir that she has read, that she has covered, that she has maybe can give to us. So maybe this can give us an opportunity to maybe change ourselves, maybe not change, maybe like moving forward to a betterness, inshallah. So doctor, what lessons can readers or our listeners can take from your book, which is about the journey of resilience and reclaiming freedom and strength from through forgiveness of our past experience?
I think there's a few that I would like to kind of like, to wrap it up. When you talk about starting the journey of forgiving others, it is very important for us to be very clear what is it that exactly we want, and then ask for guidance. And usually it is always because we want to heal. That's, I think, most of the thing that what we want from this journey. And there's a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said very clearly, anger is a burning coal in the heart of a son of Adam. And so holding coals will burn you, like crazy burn. It hurts us, not them, and it will continue to hurt us as long as we hold on to it. So we cannot heal until we let it go. That's one thing that I think it needs to be very clear to us why we should be on this forgiving others, this path. Because the more we hold on to it, the more we cannot heal, because it's burning us, not them. We cannot begin to heal while still holding on to what's harming us. That's, I think, something very important for us to remember. And one thing is that, I would say, yes, they may have started the fire, but if we keep feeding it, if we keep holding it, we are the one who choose to stay in the smoke, and that's on me. That's
we are
one
the one
thing.
who suffer.
Yes, we know that we are the one who suffer, and if we keep on holding on the thing that keeps harming us, then that's on us, not on them. That's one thing I think we need to remember. But we have to acknowledge that it is not an easy thing to do. Even though we know it's hurting us, we feel that we deserve to feel, because the more pain we feel, the more things that we remember, the things that had been done to us. So it's not easy, definitely not easy. It will never be easy, but that's what the path to Jannah is, isn't it? The path to Jannah is never easy. So just like other ibadah, we have to kind of like push ourselves to practice it before it actually becomes easy to us. It will be easy one day, inshallah. Maybe like for this event, it will be easier, and then comes another event, then you will struggle again. But again, as I said, that the path to Jannah is not something easy lah. So, and then the biggest gift you can give yourself is the gift of forgiveness. I think we heard this a lot. I used to feel like, what I was trying to say, that just sounds like, so idealistic. But when you really understand what it means as a Muslim, why it is the best gift to us is because constant forgiveness help us to shape our heart. I think we have established earlier on that the act of forgiveness is following the footsteps of Al-Ghaffar, meaning that we keep on forgiving. So constant forgiveness is actually what Allah has gifted us, to those who struggle, because it helps us to shape our heart. It gives us a pure heart. The more we forgive is actually the more we shape our heart to become purer than yesterday, which is one of the biggest requirement for us to enter Jannah, isn't it? So there's the hadith in Sahih Muslim where it says that he who has in his heart the weight of a mustard seed of pride shall not enter paradise. And the way I see it is that letting Allah handle the justice, because one of the things why it's really hard for us to forgive is because we feel that if we let go or forgive them, then we will not get the justice that we deserve, right? But letting Allah handle the justice of the hurt that we were inflicted upon is actually the act of killing the pride, the very pride that is mentioned in the hadith just now, because it is very important for us when we talk about justice that people had done to us, believing that Allah will give us the best justice we deserve is the way for us to let go. Once we really, because one of the hardest thing to do in forgiveness is actually to let go the hurt. So for me, what I went through, one of the best way for me to let go of the hurt and like actually letting go the coal that I have been holding on to was actually believing that what I want is justice, and Allah is the one
who will give.
He will give the justice the best. I will never give the better justice than Allah. And that is the last act of killing the pride in my heart. And that's why and how, inshallah, will help us to get the pure heart that will become the requirement, one of the way for us to get into Jannah, inshallah. So that is why I think as a Muslim, we do believe that forgiveness is actually the best gift that we can give ourselves, because it's the very thing that help us to get to Jannah, inshallah.
Inshallah. Yes, that is very concise answer just now. So to put it in shorter term, if you guys experience pain or maybe some heartbreaks, maybe one of the steps that you can do is to try to remember that they will receive their punishments in the hereafter. So what we will do is to letting go and forgive them, because if we holding our feelings, our emotion much longer, it will cause us many consequences, many bad repercussions. So we are the ones who will be suffering, right? So instead of suffering that, we have to let go and remember, acknowledge that Allah is the most powerful. Allah knows everything. So
He's the Al-Hakim, the one that is most wise.
Yes, remember the 99 words of Allah, inshallah. So thank you very much, Dr. Iffah Nizar, for sharing these valuable insights with us today. As we come to the end of today's episode, we have journeyed through the pages of For the Heart That Is Still Hurting. So this book reminds us that pain, betrayal, and the weight of the past are not easily forgotten. And through our questions, we have reflected on the invisible burdens that we carry, the struggles of forgiveness, the role of faith, and the courage it takes to move forward. So, the heart may argue, may resist, and may give us pain. But as Dr. Iffah Nizar just beautifully illustrates, as beautifully explained, we can feel that healing begins when we acknowledge our hurt and pain and open ourselves to the possibility of forgiveness. So it's not for those. It's not only for those who have wronged us. It's also for us, for our own freedom. So I leave you with this thought, which is forgiveness is the key that unlocks the chains of our past, or is it the bridge that carry us to a future of peace? So may we all find strength in our struggles, compassion in our healing, and hope in the journey ahead. So until next time, this has been DJ Anis on Iqra on Air, and reminding you that even heart that is still hurting, that there's always a path that leads to a light. So thank you for joining us today. Until
Thank
next
you.
time, may your heart reminds you that there will be ease after hardship. So I'm DJ Anis, and this has been Iqra on Air on IIUM FM, your campus radio. Assalamualaikum.